Hi everyone, welcome to another brand new episode of the Outlier Podcast. Today I've got someone very special, a mentor figure for years, Pankaj Jain. Hi Pankaj, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and Rak, how are you doing?
Pankaj, not to complain. Friday almost about to wind up, trying to move to the weekend really quick, so I won't complain. It's been a good productive week.
Awesome. And I've just finished my roadshow in Michigan. I just came back this morning, so I'm also very tired and ready to roll up into the weekend.
I think, both of us compete against road shows. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what people tell me that the only competition you have is PJ. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So, quick introduction, who is Pankaj, right? Pankaj is the CEO, founder of Algebrik AI. He is a serial entrepreneur, right? I mean, the very deep passion of helping credit unions succeed, of helping the credit union movement move ahead, right? What is he doing at Algebrik AI? Might be that's a question to ask him. Interesting. But let me do a basic primer and try to do a 5,000 feet overview before he comes in and talks about it. So Algebraic is the world's first AI-powered cloud-native LOS, which Pankaj envisions that will change and transform the entire lending ecosystem. So essentially, according to him, the last transformation in lending across specifically LOS happened 26 years back. And Pankaj is there to as I would say a flag bearer for the change, right? So Pankaj, I don't know if I've been able to do a decent enough introduction. Definitely not, because doing introductions for serial entrepreneurs is never easy. So I would punt that to you.
No, I think you did a good job. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Sounds good, Pankaj. First question, right? I mean, I keep on asking almost everyone, but so a customary question. So Pankaj, uh, with your stints of Synaptic, now at Algebraic, a lot of things you've built from scratch, right? So that involves a lot of work. I mean, I'm doing it myself, and can say understand the road shows, the events, demos, thought leadership, bunch of things, right? So what keeps you going? I mean, I'm sure 24 hours is not enough for you.
I guess you're right. So I think that the way I look at it, and I've been like that since my childhood, right? I would call it serial entrepreneur, not because just what I'm doing at Synaptic or here. I started my entrepreneurship journey in when I was 7 years old. I started going to used bookshops and used to buy the books from there because we were born in a very modest family. We didn't have a lot of means, so I always was attracted by the trade and how the money is made. I was very close to the money, so I wanted to earn my own pocket money. So when I was 7 years old, I started doing trading. I used to buy those old books by weight, and then I used to rent them out maybe 10 times before I sell them at a higher price than the price I bought. So that was my method of making pocket money to sort of fund my sports activity, to fund by the books I wanted to buy, or the sports gear, or recreational activities I wanted to do. So that has been my journey since then. And when I was 15 years old, I started investing in the stock market. I was the first IPO I had bought was Bangalore Chemical Petroleum Refinery Limited, and then since then I went into secondary market, started trading at the age of 18. So I've been very close to the money, and right after my engineering I actually created a software which was written in C++. It was 1996 1997, which I sold it to National Highway Authority of India to calculate bending moment and shear force when they were building the longitudinal bridges for anything less than 300 meters. So they still use the software which I developed, which actually saved 30% of the steel and concrete requirement for longitudinal bridges, because I inverted the method in which they were calculating, which was differential calculus. I said, no, I think if you use the integral calculus to do that, it will give you the same weight requirement and the strength requirement, but it will save you about 30% of the material requirement. So that actually saved the money. Then in 2000 I built a contextual search engine, and that contextual search engine was before Google became Google, and I sold that contextual search engine to rediff.com, which was one of the biggest portal that time. So I've been doing this since very early. And then I was headhunted by Citibank and they carved out a part of the business which they called it, Citicorp Information Technology Limited, which became iFlex and then later got sold off to Oracle for $4.5 billion. I was part of a very small team which actually came to the US in the year 2000. I'm talking about 24 years back. We were just the CEO, the chairman of the company, myself, and a couple of more people working from a very small office. And then 7 years, I built $700 million of business, and that company got valued for over $5 billion in like 13 years. So CVC, which is City Venture Capital, had invested about $400,000 in the company, and in 13 years, we returned $696 million back to them. So that is my journey, even before I started Synaptic or even before I Algebrik. So what keeps me going is the high of creating something new and which can actually help people. Money has always been the sort of outcome. It happened automatically, but I was never chasing money. I was always chasing my dream. I was always chasing to create something ground up. And the biggest high of telling these stories to my kids so that they can look up to me, that my dad is creating something which people are, they look me up on Google. They are very proud of it. I think that is something which I'm very, very proud of, and that keeps me going to do even harder work, so that hopefully I'll be alive when my grandkids are around, and I'll be able to tell that story to them as well. So that is my passion, to be honest, and that keeps me going. And time is not something which I will look at. I just sort of keep going and doing something which can help people.
Something that really touched upon is that sense of belonging, that sense of I would say being happy when your kids look up on Google, who is my dad. That's possibly the dad I want to become. I mean, this so aligns well with your mission and vision. Right? That's amazing. Now, my next question, you almost answered it, but still I would want to go a bit deeper. So, I mean, what has been your journey so far, Pankaj? I mean, both of us came from a country that was where we didn't have really flourishing childhood. We had modest childhoods. We had small means, came to this country trying to help people. That's what our culture teaches us, right? So what has been your journey so far?
Yeah, so I think that the values my parents sort of inculcated from very early in the childhood. One of the things my father did very early. So we are three siblings. Myself, I'm the eldest one. My younger brother is about 3 years younger to me, and my sister is 9 years. So she's like literally daughter to me. But when she was at the school age, and I was obviously in the school age, and my brother was in school age, he said, because we were giving trouble to them to get ready for the school, and it was like every morning 7 a.m. you would get out of the house to get to the school. So what he did is he said, okay, he set up a competitive sort of situation in the between the siblings, and he said, whosoever gets ready for the school without us chasing them will get like 25 cents every day. And I'm like a very, very competitive guy. And it is not about the money, it is about the high of winning and high of being the number one and high of achieving something. So I would actually win every single 25 or quarter every single day, because I would sleep on time or whatever needs to be done, get up earlier than my siblings. I would be the first one. I would 99% of the time I would have won that. And that was the drive which was developed, and the competitive drive which was developed, that culminated into what I just told you about my story of buying old books by weight and then renting them out and then selling and then getting the stock market, then then starting or writing the software to sell it to National Highway Authority of India. So I'm engineer by training. I've been very hard worker. I've had some downs because I've sort of lost my way in between. I picked it up, and I was third in the university, and but I did my civil engineering, and today what I'm doing is nothing to do with engineering. I was a very good civil engineer. I was
Yeah.
supposed to design bridges and buildings and dams and infrastructure projects, and I actually wrote a software to do that. But then I started doing something else because my passion was relationship building. My passion was knowing people. I was interested in getting to know people. So when I joined Citibank, I joined in a technical capacity, and believe it or not, in the year 2000, before I moved to the US, I was awarded the best technical architect award by Microsoft Asia Pacific president called Michael Rodding, and I presented the software which I built for iFlex, which was Citicorp Information Technology Limited. which I presented in Kuala Lumpur in 1999, and they awarded me as the best technical architect of the Asia Pacific. There were like 100 companies competing with that. So my background is solid technical. I used to write code in my sleep. But then what they found, the management team found that I'm very good in building relationships. I'm very good in keeping relationships. I'm very good in telling people what is the story, what is my dream, what product can do. And ultimately my inner desire was to help people by bringing technology, new technology. And even that time the project was complete new technology which was just available at that point of time, which was C sharp and .NET and all of that. So that has been my journey, in terms of right from very early childhood to my growing up age in the school and my engineering college, and then my professional journey and my entrepreneurship journey. So that has been my sort of foundation of what I'm doing today, and
Mhm.
that is also keeping me going.
I mean, Pankaj, so I believe one thing very strongly, something table stakes, right? Unless you do something very different than what you studied, you're not doing it right. So all of us, all of us same, right? I mean, like I'm a computer engineer, to soon realize that after a year with Accenture, right, that I didn't want to be a software developer. So I did management consulting, something I never ever thought ever I'd do in my life. And then Excel. So very, very well versed with what you are saying, but obviously enormous respect for what you've done. And you touched upon you lost your way. I think unless an entrepreneur, in my two cents, loses their way once through the trajectory, you're not just making it. I mean, it's too easy, and that's the reason you are this well respected today. Very honest, right? You build something from scratch, and we don't fear or shy away from helping others. Don't fear or shy away from making things happen. So absolutely. Now, since you've taken this head on of helping credit unions or community financial institutions in transformation of their LOS stack, for the lack of better words, right? Since we spoke that this transformation, the last transformation that happened was more than 2 decades back. Now, obviously, uh, things have changed. AI has come in, and AI is table stakes nowadays. I mean, the worst part of AI, what I feel nowadays, even automation is considered to be AI, right? And if you write a RPA
Yeah.
code, that's considered to be AI. So that's not really AI, but we would want to know more about what you're doing at Algebrik, and what is the missing piece, right, of the entire lending ecosystem puzzle that you're trying to solve for, and how will it help community financial institutions leapfrog their decision?
Yeah. So Anurag, I have to give you a little bit backstory on that, right? So in my journey in Synaptic, I met over 2,500 C-suites. I'm talking about CEOs, CLOs, VP of lending, COs, chief experience officer, and everybody. And one of the things which I learned in the process, that everybody was unhappy with their LOSs. I would say everybody, maybe too far right, maybe 95% were unhappy. Maybe there were 5% who were okay. And one of the things which they talked about is that they want to compete with fintechs and banks, but they don't have the amount of capex it requires to build the technology stack, because obviously community financial institutions, as you know, is not for profit. So they were saying that why nobody has taken or has had the courage to build a technology infrastructure which is based on a new stack technology, which makes getting the fintechs or the API ecosystem, the digital ecosystem, currently taking years, or to connect or build, to months or weeks. Even in Synaptic journey, when we were to integrate with the existing LOS infrastructure, it would take anywhere between 12 months to 2 years. And all the major LOS player, and I'm not going to name them. So I said that it's not a trivial effort, and that's why you see all the players have been dancing around LOS. So they're building point of sale, they're bringing AI decisioning engine, they're bringing marketing solution, portfolio analytics, but nobody has had the courage to build LOS. And when I talk about LOS, I'm using in a loose manner, but we have built everything from point of sale for whether it is for the iOS or the Android devices or the web or the branch or the loan officers, and then the whole LOS, which we calling it lender's cockpit, AI decisioning, portfolio analytics, the whole 9 yards. Uh, and the reason why I did it is that because the technology complexity was increasing, the cost of per member acquisition or the per loan acquisition was going through the roof, about anywhere between $600 to eight hundred
Oh,
dollars,
yes.
uh, and the friction was still there because they were trying to reduce their average member age from 53 to 40. That means that they had to acquire lots and lots of member between 25 to 30 years of age, or even younger ones which are just coming into the credit market. And that wasn't going to happen until they are able to offer what a Chase or a Capital One or American Express or SoFi would offer. Because Gen Zs and digital natives, they don't have any loyal affinities just because you are mission driven, or because you are offering a lower rate. They want convenience. They want to get out of their digital devices. They don't want to get out of their web page. And if you are not able to offer them entire end-to-end digital ecosystem where they can finish that and get to know whether they are approved for the loan or for any financial service they are looking for within less than 5 minutes, and mostly 2 minutes, then you've lost them already. And once you have lost them, not only you lose them, but
Right.
also they're going to tell like 5, 10, 20 different people that never ever visit this financial institution, but they don't have the necessary digital tools.
Yeah.
So what we did is that we decided that we are going to launch this and offer what everybody was asking. So we already know that there is a product market fit. We already know that there is a massive need in the market. We already know that what is that credit unions or the community financial institutions are trying to achieve. They want to help their members and want to meet them where they are, which is digital ecosystem, and help them at the time when they need the most, not when they already get past their time when they needed the
Yeah.
loan or the financial product. So we have launched that, keeping all of those wishes and requirements in mind, to be able to offer all of those without community financial institution or credit union spending millions of dollars in capex, by democratizing the technology in such a manner, by making it multi-tenant cloud environment,
Mhm.
AI native, to be
Mhm.
able to offer that, not only to drive the cost of per member loan, per member or loan acquisition, but also they can engage with those Gen Zs and digital natives in much more deeper way to grow, engage, and retain them, to be able to help them, and then in return they are going to get better net interest margin, better loan to share ratios, and sort of it's a win-win for all parties involved. It's a win-win for community financial institution, it is win-win for communities and the members, it's a win-win for us as a technology provider. So I think that
Mhm.
is the reason why we started that, and that's what we're trying to do.
I think that's quite brave, Pankaj, right? Taking head on with legacy codes, taking head on with technology that hasn't seen evolution for the last few years, building it from I know that there's a backstory behind it, but still repurposing it for credit unions, right? Repurposing it for credit unions, making sure that your wish list, because I mean, till now, if I were to ask, I would to say I have met 500 credit union C levels right now, because you've been in this ecosystem for like 3 to 4x more than me. Uh, Assimilating all their wish lists, right? Distilling all of them, all requirements into one single place and making it available to credit unions with lower OPEX. That's not an easy job. That's a pretty difficult job. And if you ask me, I mean, this is a problem even I wanted to solve, or I want to actually solve personally, that how can digital experience improve? I mean, I am zillennial, right? I'm between Gen Z and millennial. So I'm almost a Gen Z. I wake up to the morning looking at an Instagram reel or looking at TikTok, right? Will I go to, or will I want an experience at a credit union that takes 15 minutes to go and fill up my loan applications? Hell no, never, right? Can it be easier, fast track? If it yes, I'm your loyal consumer. Otherwise, I'm not. So that's something which I mean identified very strongly, because again, I mean, I'm just reiterating your words. Uh, Loyalty towards an institution nowadays have completely changed. I mean, talking about my father, right? My father still banks with the same bank he used to bank 25, 35 years back, because they have that human to human connect and they value it. They go to a branch every single week. But do I do it? I don't remember the last time I went to a branch. right? So this is so well taken, and you know, we from the Family of Outlier podcast, we wish you all the best, Pankaj. We are rooting for you always, as you know, right? Uh, the next section is very related to the question that I asked you earlier. Uh, you know, obviously working versus the journey of entrepreneurship, right? I mean, in the ecosystem of credit, I mean, there are a couple of people whom I look up to, Ashish and you, right?
Yep.
Because you guys are like my role models or mentors who've been able to go and crack the ecosystem, being competitive, have delivered things were promised, right? So, but you know, I mean, I have my question of why entrepreneurship, my answer. But if I ask you point blank, Pankaj, why entrepreneurship? What I mean, what motivates you, or you know, what keeps you going in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so you know, so as I said, that entrepreneurship has been my sort of, I've written a blog called "It Runs in the Blood." So I've come from a Marwadi family. If people know the Indian diaspora, then they know that 95% of Marwadis are entrepreneurs. So it runs in the blood. So all my family, except my dad, everybody was entrepreneur, right? So I've seen people doing entrepreneur, different types of entrepreneurship. If you look at top 10 Indian billionaires, I would say 9 of them are Marwadis, or
Yeah.
from that Rajasthan or Gujarat type of background. So that obviously was sort of the part of the DNA. But I did the jobs, and I also took these jobs as not like a job, but entrepreneurship. Even in those jobs, I created wealth for the companies who invested in those companies. I created wealth for everybody, all the stakeholders. So I'm a very big believer that job is, there's no disrespect for people who are doing the job, but ultimately has to be somebody who actually create jobs for everybody else, who creates something. So there are people who are creators, there are people who are consumers, there are people who are just users. So I always was fascinated by the value system of creating something which can be useful for people. And as I said, that I've never chased the money. Money has always been the byproduct of what I did, and it automatically happened. And that's what I'm doing. So I think that it's the high of the entrepreneurship, the high of what I talked about earlier, of instilling those value in my kids, that working hard and thinking about how do you help people. If your mission is to help people, everything else will follow. And if you just sort of manifest that mission by working hard and keep doing what you're supposed to do, but it's never a wrong choice to make the right decision. It's never the wrong time to make a right decision. So if you are able to do
Hmm.
that, then I think that that sort of culminates into how entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs work. They always
Hmm.
sort of motivated by helping others, finding a way to solve a problem, trying to create wealth for everybody, not just for themselves, the entire ecosystem, and creating win-win solution for all different parties involved.
No, absolutely right. And Pankaj, you know, very related question that even you came from an ecosystem that's like large banks, Citi, S&P,
Correct.
and then you found your segue into credit unions. I mean, very similar story. I very honest, 3 years back, I didn't even know what credit unions are. Very honest, right? I just got put into the ecosystem, and then I was like, okay, I love the place because people actually help people. It's not the traditional capitalist economy that we've seen outside. It's very different, right? So what made you, I mean, what triggered you or fueled you, you know, to move to credit unions and with one vision of helping people helping people. So why did you move? Why did you move to the ecosystem?
Yeah, so during our synaptic journey, we had all the big banks as the clients, right? In the first few years of our journey, right? We had Barclays, we had HSBC, Synchrony Financial, which is XG Capital,
Mm.
Citibank, US Bank, you name it, right? All the big banks were clients. So just before the COVID, I think in December 2019, we realized that we were sitting in a yearly review. We realized that what was the mission of the company, why we started that. The mission of the company was always to democratize the technology and make it available so that it can help people eventually. That was the whole objective. And what was happening in the big banks, that we were probably making more money than we did in few years in credit
Mhm.
union world, but it wasn't seeing the day of the light because of the political nature of how things go around in the capitalist economy and the capitalist type of situations. it was taking longer than what we expected to actually being
Absolutely.
able to help people. So we sort of did the soul search, and at that time I didn't know, like you, what credit unions are. I didn't know a single soul in the credit union. I had a Rolodex of maybe 10,000 people even then, but and across 50 countries, because I was traveling across 50 countries in my previous roles. But I didn't know that. So what I said is, okay, who are the purpose driven, mission driven financial institution? And then I stumbled upon credit unions in about December 2019. And then I said, okay, let's just sort of pivot ourselves on that. I know that we have to start from scratch, and I'm never afraid of starting anything from scratch. I said, okay, I need to become a marinated
Mm.
chicken in terms of understanding the ecosystem, and so that they know me. So if you see my LinkedIn, I'm like literally my whole life is out there, right?
Yep.
I have no skeletons in the closet. I've just wanted to make sure that people know me deeply. They know my family. They know how I work, how
Mm,
I
mm,
operate. They
mm,
can trust me.
mm,
So
mm.
that's how I started building it. I think the main thing which pivoted us was our desire to help people sooner than it was happening. Our desire to see the end user or end member or end consumer to be able to get the benefit of the technology, rather than it is sitting in a lab or going through the political mumbo jumbo in the capitalist situation. So that was the main trigger. But then now everything is history, and I'm loving it that we made that pivot, and I'm able to help people, and people trust me, and I really love where I am today.
Yeah, I mean, because of people like you, right? At least a new paths to help people came out for, I mean, for the lack of better words, the next generation, right? I mean, because we look up to entrepreneurs like you, and we want to become like you. So this is, on behalf of, I would say, our zillennial generation or Gen Zs, we would want to thank you, Pankaj, for showing the way out.
uh,
So, yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I guess, look, one of the other side benefit of what I'm doing is that I get messages, and first of all, thank you very much for all the kind words you just said. But I get messages like that every day, like like hundreds of messages every month, where people have said that they didn't know that there was a group of credit unions or a community financial institution ecosystem where their technology could help people faster than they have seen in other verticals. So I'm very very happy that I'm able to inspire a lot of people, and they think that there is a group of financial institution which can actually take their products or services to be able to help their members, and sort of create a win-win situation to all parties. So that you very nicely said. But that's one of the other things which I've been sort of sort of that keeps me going.
Absolutely. And I mean, I want to be respectful of your time, Pankaj. One last part of the question. Right? What's next is algebraic. What's next?
Yeah, I hope that this is my last gig. I turned 50 last year. It's not easy to do all of this thing when you're 50. I've like work 18 hours every day, literally. I don't get to see my family that much except on the weekend. My kids are young, so I have to keep myself young for a very long time. I hope that this is the last gig, and I think that I'm going to talk in the financial term, but that's sort of again the byproduct of what I'm doing. I have personal dream of getting a picture clicked in front of Nasdaq in Times Square, and getting that picture framed when we list the IPO of a unicorn status. It can happen here, it can happen in Synaptic, but I still have my equity there. But that is my personal dream, and I've committed to my boys that we will, I will give you that picture.
Thank you, Pankaj. This was amazing. Again, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.